What truly makes a leader fierce? Is it the fear they inspire, the lands they conquer, or the legacy they leave? In Genghis Khan and the Making of the Modern World, Jack Weatherford urges us to look past the legends. Today we compare two titans, Attila the Hun and Genghis Khan. Their names echo through history, symbols of power and terror. But who was fiercer? This isn't just about battles, it's about the nature of power itself. We'll strip away myth to see them as strategists, rulers, and architects of empires. Their worlds were different, but the questions they raise are timeless. Let's begin our journey to discover what made these men unforgettable. Picture the crumbling Roman Empire around 400 AD. The once mighty empire was fracturing, beset by internal strife and external threats. Its borders were porous, its legions stretched thin, and a sense of unease permeated the land. Into this world rode Attila, a figure of immense power and dread, the leader of the Huns. These were a nomadic people from Central Asia, hardened by the harsh landscapes and driven by a thirst for conquest. The Romans, trembling before his might, called him the Scourge of God, believing he was a divine instrument sent to punish them for their sins and decadence. Attila was not just a warrior, he was a master of intimidation, a psychological weapon in his own right. He possessed the charisma and ruthlessness to unite scattered tribes, forging them into a single, fearsome, and unstoppable force. His Huns were expert horsemen, practically born in the saddle. They were also skilled archers, deadly accurate even at full gallop. Their tactics revolved around speed and ferocity, overwhelming their enemies with lightning-fast raids and devastating volleys of arrows. Attila's primary goal was plunder, the accumulation of wealth, not the establishment of a lasting empire. In essence, he was a pirate king on horseback, a raider on a grand scale. He made his living demanding tribute from the world's richest empires, extorting vast sums of gold and resources. His fearsome reputation alone was enough to make kings and emperors pay him exorbitant sums to avoid the devastation of battle. At the height of his power, he even reached the gates of Rome itself, only turning back after Pope Leo I and other prominent citizens offered him a massive payment, averting the sack of the city. But his reign, though impactful, was surprisingly brief, lasting less than 20 years. After his sudden and mysterious death, his vast but fragile empire crumbled almost instantly, dissolving back into the steppes. Attila broke things, instilled fear in the hearts of millions, and left a trail of destruction in his wake. However, he left no lasting society, no enduring institutions, no cultural legacy. His fierce presence on the world stage was like a flash of terror, brilliant and awe-inspiring but ultimately fleeting, leaving behind only echoes in the annals of history. Fast forward 7 centuries to Mongolia, 1200 AD. Here, Temujin, later known as Genghis Khan, rose from poverty and hardship. He united warring Mongol tribes, forging a new identity and a code of laws, the Yasa. Genghis Khan was a master strategist, transforming nomads into the world's most disciplined army. He organized his forces into flexible units, promoting talent over birthright. Unlike Attila, Genghis sought not just plunder, but lasting conquest and control. He built a meritocracy inspiring fierce loyalty. He established a messenger system, the Yam, connecting his vast empire. Ruthless in war, he also valued order and trade. His empire was the largest contiguous land empire in history. Genghis Khan's legacy endured, expanding even after his death. His fierceness was methodical, visionary, and enduring. Attila's warfare was built on fear, a calculated strategy designed to break the spirit of his enemies before a single sword was drawn. It was a campaign of terror, meticulously crafted and brutally executed. It was psychological as much as physical. Attila understood that a demoralized enemy was already half defeated. He aimed to instill panic and dread, crippling their ability to resist. The Huns struck like lightning, their attacks swift and merciless, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. They were masters of chaos and unpredictability, using these elements to terrify their enemies, sowing discord and despair wherever they went. Their tactics were designed to overwhelm and disorient. Attila's reputation grew with every city that paid tribute, a testament to his fearsome power and the effectiveness of his terror tactics. And with every king who bowed, acknowledging his supremacy and submitting to his will, his legend only intensified. Tales of his cruelty, real and exaggerated, spread like wildfire, carried by refugees and whispered in hushed tones. These stories, whether true or embellished, became his greatest weapon, more potent than any sword or spear. His strategy was simple, yet devastating. Use overwhelming force to build a brand of terror. a reputation so fearsome that it preceded him. This carefully cultivated image of brutality made future conquests easier, as cities and kingdoms often surrendered without a fight, hoping to avoid the wrath of the Hunnic horde. In Gaul, he led his army deep into Roman territory, a bold and audacious move that struck fear into the heart of the empire. He was relentless in sacking cities, leaving behind a landscape of destruction and despair, and ultimately facing the Romans and Visigoths at the bloody Battle of the Catalonian Plains, a clash that would determine the fate of Gaul. Even when forced to withdraw from the Catalonian Plains, a rare setback in his campaign, he proved no one was safe from his reach, continuing to raid and pillage, demonstrating the vastness of his power. Attila was a predator, perfectly adapted for hunting and conquest, driven by an insatiable hunger for power and plunder. But he was ultimately uninterested in what came after the hunt, in building a lasting civilization or establishing a stable kingdom. His empire depended entirely on his charisma, his ability to inspire and command his warriors, and on the promise of loot, the spoils of war that fueled their loyalty and kept them fighting. With his sudden death shrouded in mystery and intrigue, the Huns fractured and vanished from history, their unity shattered, their power dissipated. The storm he created passed as quickly as it arrived, leaving behind a landscape scarred by war and terror. His legacy is one of fear, not foundation, a reminder of the destructive power of conquest without purpose. Genghis Khan's legendary fierceness was not simply blind rage, it was calculated, strategic, and purposeful. It was a tool, carefully wielded to achieve his grand vision for a unified Mongol empire. He understood that fear, when properly channeled, could be as effective as force. He offered surrender before attacking, a pragmatic approach that often saved lives and resources. Those who accepted his offer were not merely spared, they were integrated into his burgeoning empire, becoming part of something larger than themselves. They joined his ranks, contributing their skills and manpower to his cause. But those who resisted, who stubbornly clung to their independence, faced swift and utter annihilation. This dual policy of offering peace and threatening destruction made conquest remarkably efficient, minimizing prolonged resistance and consolidating his power base. After conquest, he didn't just occupy territory, he established the Pax Mongolica, the Mongol peace, a period of unprecedented stability and prosperity across Eurasia. This brought an end to centuries of incessant tribal warfare, fostering an environment where trade and cultural exchange could flourish. Trade routes, most notably the Silk Road, flourished under his protection, becoming arteries of commerce and connection. This facilitated a vibrant exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies, connecting East and West in ways never before imagined. Genghis Khan was not merely a destroyer, leaving behind only ruin and ashes. He was also a builder, like a visionary architect, carefully constructing a new world order from the fragments of the old. He enforced the Yasa, a comprehensive legal code that promoted order, justice, and remarkably, religious tolerance. His empire welcomed people of all faiths, Christians, Muslims, and Buddhists, creating a diverse and cosmopolitan society. This religious freedom was conditional, of course, as long as they obeyed his laws and contributed to the stability of the empire. Recognizing his own mortality, he meticulously planned for succession, dividing the vast empire among his sons and heirs. This strategic division was intended to ensure the long-term survival and stability of the Mongol Empire, preventing it from collapsing after his death. And indeed, the Mongol Empire, though eventually fragmented, shaped the course of history for centuries after his death, leaving an indelible mark on the world. Genghis Khan's fierceness was not just that of a conqueror, but that of a founder. Relentless in his pursuit of unity, visionary in his understanding of power, and enduring in the legacy he left behind. He proved that true and lasting power lies not only in the ability to destroy, but more importantly, in the vision and capacity to build something new and enduring. His legacy is not just one of conquest, but of transformation, a world irrevocably changed by the rise and reign of the Mongol Empire. Why do Attila and Genghis Khan matter today? Their stories are timeless lessons in leadership and power. Attila shows the impact of disruption, shattering old systems but leaving chaos behind. His legacy warns us, breaking things is easy, building is the real challenge. Genghis Khan teaches the value of vision, unity, and meritocracy, principles at the heart of modern organizations. His empire's Pax Mongolica enabled trade, innovation, and cultural exchange. Both men force us to confront the moral complexity of power and progress. Genghis especially connected worlds, spreading inventions that reshaped civilization. Their stories remind us, history is not just about the past, but about the choices and legacies we create today. They reflect the extremes of human potential, ruthless ambition and the drive to build. Their echoes still shape our world. So, who was fiercer, Attila or Genghis Khan? If fierceness means raw, destructive power, Attila claims the title. He was the ultimate disruptor, a storm that left only fear and ruin. But if fierceness means relentless vision and the power to build, Genghis Khan stands unmatched. He was a master architect, reshaping the world with discipline and purpose. Fierceness has many faces, the storm that destroys and the mountain that endures. Attila was the storm, Genghis Khan the builder who harnessed it. Their stories remind us of the impact one willful individual can have. What kind of fierceness do you value? The power to break or the vision to build?